morning, folks. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Water and Wastewater Commissioners to order for June 4th on Chatham Road. We have executive session on the agenda. First of all, I'd like to take two items out of order with everybody's permission. First of all would be to welcome Bob as our newly elected commissioner, and we're happy to have you. And you come at a very transitional time, so
I understand that.
You know,
It's a tough race.
it could be a few bumps in the road, but we'll take them together.
Okay.
So, and also on that note, I don't know why, but the superintendent hasn't contacted you to take you on a tour or anything like that, as he used to do. I don't know what he's been doing.
Maybe they're waiting to see if I showed up.
Yeah. Steve would be the one who would take you on that tour.
Okay.
And at some point, if you two could, figure out I heard that you would be okay with that, Steve.
No problem.
All
Good.
right. Yeah. So that takes care of that. The second item that I would like to take out of order before we go into executive would be, we had a request for assistance with the water service at 203 Bank Street for the old fire station. And we put it off the first time because the paperwork wasn't exactly as it should be for us to go ahead and be able to assist. So since then, Steve has been kind to be running around and juggling a few things. So I just want to verify that we're all on the same page. Originally, we were asked to donate some equipment, but it was based on a quote that went to Robert Hour, and we couldn't really do a third-party, arrangement like that. So at the time when the board discussed it, we felt that it would be a lot easier for us if we were able to contribute the labor. Originally, Robert Hour said they were going to do the labor and we would do the parts. But technically, if we could fit the labor in, then we would be all right, as long as Steve can fit it into the schedule to go ahead and supply that. And we had already discussed that we would waive the tapping fee as a contribution, so that's $3,000 off the charges there. The other thing, two other matters that weren't confirmed would be how the police details would be arranged and paid for, and how the repaving after the job would be arranged and paid for. So we did get a new quote if we were doing materials through Steve, through our own supplier. So I guess I would ask the fire department representatives to confirm what you want.
Good morning, Bruce Young. I'm the president of the Harwich Fire Association. To give you an update, Robert Hour has decided to donate all the materials.
Great, that's
for that project. There's going to be a 6-inch main underneath Bank Street, all the way to the side of the firehouse, going into the old basement, and then Yankee Sprinklers are going to reduce that down to a 4-inch.
Great.
And tie into that.
Yeah.
Then go to the sprinkler system from there.
All right, that's a lot clearer than it was before. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we didn't, we hadn't really reached out about Bobby Hour doing the material part of it, and kind of where we flip-flopped at the last meeting, so things are a little bit clearer now.
Yeah.
They're going to donate the material.
And that's what we did a year ago in May of 2023 as well. Did you have any discussion with them, Bruce, about the repaving or the police details?
I'm sure that we can take care of the police detail, and we did that before with them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who did the paving before with that, I'm not sure. No, but I mean in the street. You're talking about in the street side of it? The parking lot is going to be all redone in the fall.
Right.
So we don't have to worry about that. So I just thought you meant about Bank Street.
Yes.
I don't know who paid that the last time, or what that fee was.
I can't
don't remember.
Was it May or June of 2023?
We covered the paving last time too.
No.
What, DPW, do they do?
Well, I'm sure we can work with the contractor with Robert Hour where they're doing that. And
All right. maybe we'll leave that to the side for the moment.
I think maybe that the fire association can pay for that police detail and for the paving.
Okay, that's
We'll
glad to
take
hear.
care of that part of it.
Right. So I'd like comments from the board, if we're all right to go ahead. If it's all right with Steve, do you feel that we can, fit this into the schedule at some point to accommodate the labor?
Yeah, as long as they do the tap receiving valve, which I believe Abby said that she would do the tap receiving valve. And she
Okay.
would run the main from the valve.
Yeah, that was my next question, who was doing the tap?
Yeah. I believe Abby said she was gonna do the tap, we would just be running the main and stuff.
So any comments or feedback from the board?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. And that motion was to assist with the labor in the improvement of the water service to 203 Bank Street, just for the record.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I'm an aye, so that's 5-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
and thank you for working with Steve to make this a little bit easier for us.
Thank you.
All right. Okay,
Thank you.
so.
Have a great day, everybody.
All
Thank you.
right, bye, Bruce. So, I so appreciate staff coming, and I'm gonna want them to be here later, so this might mess up your mornings a little bit, I'm sorry to say. But, at this point, I'm gonna read that we're gonna go into executive session. So per GL Chapter 30A and Section 21, the board will meet to consider or interview applicants for employment or appointment by a preliminary screening committee if the chair declares that an open meeting will have a detrimental effect in obtaining qualified applicants, provided, however, that this clause shall not apply to any meeting, including meetings of a preliminary screening committee to consider and interview applicants who have passed a prior preliminary screening for water wastewater superintendent position. So, with that said, we will adjourn to executive for hopefully not a long period, but we will be coming back out to an open meeting. All right, we're off. I'm going to reconvene the meeting of the Board of Water Wastewater Commissioners. I'll let you know that one vote was taken in executive, and obviously it was a conversation regarding the placement of the new superintendent, and we'll be announcing any further details as they become available. So with that, we will move back to the meeting. The minutes from May 3rd, we're going to hold till next meeting. The next item on the agenda is one that we've had continuing for a while, and it seems to be getting resolved fairly well, I hope. But at any rate, this was the discussion about what we call the CWMP point of contact. For the public, that means that since we used to have a superintendent that really oversaw the whole CWMP process, in addition to the water department, and in addition to the Phase 2 section of town, which has been implemented. Now, as a board and as a department, we not only, that's not the right way to say it. What we do is we do the water department and we do Phase 2. Services that make decisions about the comprehensive wastewater management plan, such as the construction in Phase 3, the installation of the dry sewer pipe in West Harwich. Everything beyond Phase 2 is not the purview of this board, never was really. So because of that, we've had to make some changes in how we get questions from the public and how we coordinate answers to the public for that. So I understand that they haven't yet made changes to our phone system, although the admin staff has been handling what's going on so far. I talked with Tracy, and very well. And we had also talked about eventually having some kind of a log as people call in. But the feedback that I'm getting seems to be that the admin staff of both places, 732 Main and Chatham Road, seem to be working things out at this moment. So I just didn't know if anybody had any further questions or comments on the situation as we evolve. The thing is, we're always going to bleed into each other. You know, we've just had a situation with a Phase 2 location who had a sewer problem, but that probably won't be repaired until it's repaired as part of the Phase 3 work. So we're always going to be going back and forth with information. There can be no clean line drawn, but we have to do our best not to extend the request beyond the job descriptions of our employees, and also, of course, to take care of the residents the very highest possible way we can. So, boy, the questions died down after a while. This was a fiery one a couple of months ago. And I will say that the town hall personnel has been very accommodating with this issue. They're, you know, what they do is their business, but they will be hiring people for on-call services to answer questions and other things. I think we're all a little concerned because it's not so centralized anymore. So it's going to be a continuing work in progress for a long time. Okay, with that said, then the next item on the agenda under new business would be board reorganization. So, do I have any motions regarding board reorganization?
I'll make a motion, your chair.
Thank you.
And I'd like to make a motion to nominate Alan. He's threatened to not run again, and
I still got 2 years.
so I know,
Oh,
but
Okay, so it sounds like I've got 2 firsts on the table and no seconds. So that doesn't help me. So I have a first.
I've
For
nominated
me.
you for chair, yes.
Is there a second to that? So to that one, there's a second. So, but then I had a motion for a first to Alan. So I'm a little perplexed as to how to go forward with this. I guess we have to vote first on the first one that arrived. I'm sorry?
no, I said, is there a second on mine?
Well, we normally don't go ahead with the second motion until the first motion is dealt with. I mean, I'm not trying to stuff anything out, it's just, that's normal. What? I mean, that's normal, you don't, normally take 2 or 3 motions
I
and
call for
then,
the question.
what?
I call for the vote.
Well, you can't call for the vote, yeah, I'm sorry, that's my domain for the
Oh,
moment.
but you're-
Any other experts in the field?
Well,
Mr. Mc-
technically, you've asked for nominations, not motions.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could take multiple then.
Yes, you could take
Okay, thank you
That's what I
for that.
thought. Yeah.
All right, so for nominations, we have 1 for me, so I guess they don't have to be seconded. I got you now, okay. And we have 1 for Alan. So, so I would ask everybody, excuse me, who they want, I can't reach that. Thank you. I don't really know how to proceed.
Call for a vote, right, or discussion? or-
Well, we have 2 nominations. Alan, how do we go ahead?
We call for a vote.
Okay,
Uh,
a vote on
How
what?
many for you, or how many for me?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So how many
The
here?
majority wins.
Okay, thank you. Is that 3? Yeah. So how many people, how many board members would like to vote for me? 1, 2, and I'll vote for myself. Thank you.
And that's right. That's the majority.
Okay. And so you didn't vote for me, Alan?
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
I support you.
Okay.
I do too, I just,
Huh?
you know.
Yeah, all right. So is that a 3 or 4 or a 5 for Tracy and I's records?
It would, I think a 5.
Okay,
You're good.
You're good, yeah. we can
Yeah,
make it
all right.
5.
and if I'm pulling teeth, then maybe I don't want it, you know, so no, I'm always teasing.
Can Alan, would I nominate you for vice chair?
And I'll second that.
For Alan.
Yeah.
I was gonna do that, but thank you for.
We're all gonna nominate Alan for vice chair.
Okay. How many people are in support of Alan as vice chair?
I
5-0, okay. And for clerk, Bob,
I think I'm too new here to do that.
No, you can have it.
actually, the couple of years I was clerk, I never signed a single thing, so it's really just to fill a, spot, John?
What's that?
You know what I'm asking.
Bob's looking for it.
Yeah, Bob, you're in, that's it. I nominate Bob for, clerk.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I believe we have 5 to support that. I'm counting you as a vote for yourself. I'll put you as an abstain.
Okay, that's good.
All right, is that better?
Run.
Yeah.
You always gotta vote for yourself.
I did that enough this last time.
Okay, we'll move on then.
Overwhelming shots.
Last year I didn't want this, and now this year I'm glad to have all your support because we'll all need to be together this year, that's for sure.
We are together. We are the A-team.
All right. Next item on the agenda, and we have Dan Pelletier here to debunk some of this, is our Water Management Act permit, which is out there. So I would ask you, Dan, to take a seat, or...
Oh, it's like a cheetah.
So just on a high level, so DEP did, this was one of the first things I did when I started in 2015, was to complete the order to complete for our Water Management Act permit, and the draft permit came 2 weeks after I left. So, good news is that we were granted the additional withdrawal capacity for our 4 permitted wells. So, looking back over the last 9 years, Harwich exceeded its withdrawal volume, I think 2 or 3 out of the last 9 years. So we were at the edge of our permitted capacity, so this definitely buys us some additional permitted capacity. Additionally, I anticipate that increase is going to benefit us when we get the new source online up at well 10. They will not increase the town's overall capacity, so that additional capacity that was granted for our 4 permitted wells will ultimately slide over to our new 5th well. So we're not overburdening the 4 existing wells trying to get more out of them. So it kind of plays nicely into where we are at with the well 10 upgrade project. One of the constraints in the permit is that they are requiring increased monitoring for the vernal pool that is over off of Pleasant Bay Road in East Harwich. The requirement now, the treatment operators have to go down and take field measurements. I think it's between December and June to monitor the water level. The additional requirement is that the permit is going to have the town hire a wetland or a biologist to come in and count egg masses or do an evaluation of the vernal pool twice a year. I believe it's at the beginning and the end of vernal pool season. I did reach out to Russ from EDR, who's going to put me in touch with someone at the Coastal Marine Studies, the lab that's out. They have people that would be able to perform that inspection for us. I was also going to propose that we put together a scope of work to kind of automate the inspection process for the vernal pool. Part of it is going to be the daily gathering of the vernal pool readings, but then also consolidating that into a monthly report that will get submitted to DEP. So through some, a couple of instruments and SCADA upgrades, we can tie that all in and have that process all automated so that it can just generate the report on a monthly basis.
Quick question before you get too far. You just said daily gathering. I thought they were requiring weekly meetings.
So
Okay.
with those, they also want precipitation, pumping. These are the 4 items that they want captured as part of this monitoring protocol. So I'm planning to put together a concept to kind of bring that to, or fully automate that process. Additionally, in the draft permit is, well, I would say some information about the new water use restrictions, governance that we're going to have to operate under. DEP is providing the department with 2 options. One, just implement calendar from May to September, calendar water use restrictions, or the department can elect to monitor the USGS monitoring well in Brewster, and when the water level gets below a certain threshold or a trigger value for, I believe it's 60 days, that would require us to then implement water restrictions. I would have to go back to the last 20 years and see how many times we would be in that condition, which I can certainly do that exercise, but that would be something to consider as the department determines which avenue to pursue. It may be, you know, we may look back 20 years and say, oh, well, we only went into water restrictions one time with this new, we're going to go with option A. But if it's something that we see may have triggered us in and out of water restrictions 4 or 5 times a year, that is going to be an absolute nightmare to manage and enforce, we may say it's more beneficial to go to a calendar year, 2-day a week. So I think the first step is looking back at the historical data to see what these regulations, you know, historically would have done for us. I think those are the highlights.
Comments from the board?
Dan, on new construction, which is routine here, how does that play into the restrictions on permit?
So the, meaning like new subdevelopments and stuff like that, new streets, residential development, Pine Oaks 3, I think that they're talking about, right? That, all that sort of stuff. So that is basically going to, that was the justification that I made for the increasing capacity request. So I would say that Harwich is comfortably positioned to accommodate those demands with the increase in permitted capacity, and then once we're done bringing the new well in North Harwich online, I think that would bolster, you know, the water system for the foreseeable future from a development standpoint.
Okay. I get the feeling they make these rules, you know, and don't consider all the actions that that are involved in it, you know. I mean, we're not going to stop construction as near as I can see, and the water still has to flow.
Right.
Anyone else at the moment, or I'll jump in? All right. Could you touch on, Dan, the part that includes that this is now being published, I guess, and
so, yes, so as part of the Water Management Act process, DEP has provided us with the draft permit. The next step is for it to be published in the Environmental Monitor for 30 days to the public, where public can provide comments to DEP. It's similar to how with the wastewater management plan, these documents are published for public comment. Once public comment comes back, assuming there are no major changes or modifications required to the permit, it would then, you know, move forward, becoming into effect. One change I do want to note: the draft permit that was circulated, that was provided by DEP, incorrectly identified the wrong monitoring well. So I did reach out to DEP and had them correct that, so they were updating that.
it's not well 11? plugged
It's
in?
well 22R, they had well 22.
So there's a typo.
No, it was the wrong serial number on it.
Okay.
Okay, so, on that issue, so when this came in, not long ago, there was a period for us as a board and the superintendent to send in recommendations, and things like that, and, Dan at the time, in his capacity, did not feel that their requests were substantial enough, to warrant that the things that they were requesting, we were gonna wind up, most likely having to do anyway. And also the fact that it did accommodate our increased drawing of water, that was a good thing. So there were a couple of bad things and a good thing. So I believe that this permit is actually out there posted now, or if not
Next couple days, I
very
think.
shortly, for comment by the public.
And to just build on what you were saying, over the last 9 years in discussion with DEP, they at one point were proposing that we were gonna have to shut well 11 down between December and June for vernal pool season. That would have been one of those instances that I would have said, hold on, pump the brakes, we are not gonna let them publish this in the environmental monitor, and we're gonna fight this tooth and nail so that we can operate that well for those 6 months. But there were no surprises.
So, with all that said, I guess we proceed with, it's kind of a shame where we just spent 2 years changing our water restriction language, that now we have to go back and look at it again, although I think it's a lot closer now to what they want than it had been a few years ago, so unfortunately, that's what we have to do. And that means public hearings and changes on the regulations on town meeting and everything else, even though it's probably only a few words, but
There's
that's-
action items for other departments too. I believe there's some language at the health. The
Oh,
health
okay.
regulations need to be updated, so
yeah.
I can comb through more,
right,
um,
better you than me,
yeah,
yeah.
and put a list together.
Yeah, what's this on Brewster?
That was, I think that's the correspondence I had sent to DEP asking them to correct the,
Well,
Monitoring
it should have
well.
been Harwich.
no, that the well is in Brewster, but there's
Oh,
22 and there's 22R, and they had used the wrong one.
and Harwich is in Brewster?
The monitor, the one that we, for groundwater,
Oh,
that we use.
I'm monitoring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brewster used to be part of Harwich.
So what's the, kind of like timeline on this whole process?
I would expect at some time early July, we'll be communicating again with DEP, just
Okay.
as for what comments they may have received from the environmental monitor.
Okay.
There's gonna have to be ongoing discussions with them about the trigger points for the water restrictions. They're probably gonna wanna, I think there's,
Yeah.
but I would say starting in July, it would probably start picking up.
So it's based mainly on what we pump.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the input, it sounds to me like we proceed along the path that's been presented to us and request Dan under our contractual arrangement to proceed with the next steps and work with the board on that. Accepted? Yeah. So I don't think we really need a vote on that. Thank you, Dan. All right, don't go anywhere, please. Yeah, we got you back there now, that's good.
Got me up here.
Yeah, all right, so the next item on the thing is an issue on Sparrow Hawk Road, a wastewater variance. This is 2 services, oh, I'm sorry, okay, John.
Oh, they did, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either. Thank you. Yeah, so we have a homeowner at 7 Sparrowhawk who currently has a
request to have a second sewer stub for their location because of the fact that he has a detached barn from his property that's further up the street. And in order to gravity from that barn to the house to tie into the one sewer stub, the grade in the landscape doesn't allow it to happen. He has to fill, there's a huge hole, and in order to get the pipe through there, he'd have to fill this hole in. And you're talking pretty significant amount of cost for that. So he has requested to have a second sewer stub at the location. I believe in the rules it says one stub per parcel, but this is kind of a unique property where I believe Dan helped kind of design this sewer system. It's a private sewer system to these people where the parcel is and everything. And so he's basically asking to tie into his own private sewer a second time, I guess.
Does this allow the property to be split in the future or anything with two sewer hookups?
So this is just still one parcel.
Mhm.
What it is the detached garage is probably 500 to 1,000 feet up the road. It's still gonna be based off of one water meter, so they'll still get charged for the flow through the one water meter. And then the water from the house is gonna go through the side up to the barn. And it's just gonna be whoever, I believe it's the homeowner's son who's building that property here. He said it's just gonna be a washroom and a toilet.
Where's the sun building, in this vacant lot here?
Yes, so there's actually a current barn there now.
Mm-hmm.
This actually might show you a little better. Oh, you have it right here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So there's,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so the actual barn is existing, and there is a foundation for the house right here.
Okay.
So he's just asking for a second sewer stub here at the top, so that he doesn't have the gravity. There's a hole right here for landscaping.
So there will be one connection to the main?
So there'll be two connections, one for the actual
Oh, okay.
house dwelling,
Separate.
and then he's requesting a second sewer stub for the barn itself.
And I understand that he won't get, sorry, Alan.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I understand that he won't get double billed for the base bill. In other words, he won't get 2 base charges for water and 2 base charges for sewer. He will get only one.
Because it's all, the way that you build sewer is through the amount of water
Right.
usage. So this water is still, to that barn, gonna be
Okay.
going through the house.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna be metered through that one parcel.
Right.
It's just gonna be exiting to
Yeah.
the sewer main in 2 different locations.
I mean,
Do you have a recommendation on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a unique one. I've worked with them from during the Phase 2 construction up until and after. It's a bunch of retreat lots. It's all owned by the same family, where it's a private road. Instead of having the town requiring 1 service per parcel and running 3 sewer services up their, narrow dirt driveway where they also have water services and everything else, the select board allowed them to run, 1 gravity sewer collection system, but it's really a service up to the back of the cul-de-sac, and I think that's where he's hoping to tie the barn in, which is, I would say it's equivalent to if you, had your primary residence in a detached barn and you teed in your barn plumbing to your house plumbing before it went to the street. It's kind of the same thing in this application. And the landscape out there definitely has those big kettle holes that, there really isn't an option for gravity. The other ones in the back had to get easements to go through so that they could get on the other side of the property so that they could get in by gravity. So it's...
Sorry. I just want to ask, did they already do the permitting or start the permitting for a bathroom or rehabbing the barn. In other words, if we were to say yes, they wouldn't take that to the permitting, say, well, you know, we can now put a house in there.
I don't
follow
know
me?
that we would, I don't know that that would impact the lot viability. I think the lot viability would be, you know, if they have the 40,000 square foot, or, you know, if they have 80,000 square foot, they could
They could
build
do it
there, whether or
anyway.
not that there was a,
Yeah.
Just wanted to ask for clarity.
Madam Chairman, I move, we move ahead with
I second.
Okay, so I mean, it certainly sounds like a reasonable solution to the situation. Appreciate everybody who worked it out in a difficult area, and with that said, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. So you have the wherewithal to proceed,
Okay.
okay? Next item is a GHD agreement for on-call water services. Yeah, that's you, that's you.
All right, so I had asked that Steve put in, on behalf of Steve, I know he's been working, we're trying to work on updating some of the GIS maps, however, the Esri software is malfunctioning, and we no longer have a contract, an active contract with the vendor who was providing us with GIS support, which was, and has been GHD. Todd Plank, who works out of their Pennsylvania office, has been helping us for the past several years. So when Steve ran into an issue with the program operating, and he's our guy to call. So this is simply in support of that.
Okay.
So this is gonna be a new setup?
This is just for on-call services,
Oh.
you know, so that if Steve's working on updating the maps and runs into something that, you know, isn't functioning or working properly, he has a phone a friend to
Okay.
get answers from.
So, I'm sorry, I always do this to you. So in the past, we had the fellow who's in Pennsylvania or whatever.
Yep, and this would still
And this
be-
would take the place of this.
It was still the same guy.
Okay.
We had previously had an on-call engineering services agreement with GHD.
Right.
It has since expired, so
Mhm.
this is simply renewing a
Oh, okay.
on-call agreement.
So just to be clear, this is a necessity that we had regardless of your
Yes.
employment situation?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Todd was also a resource for myself.
All right. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, we need a motion on that.
Yes, we do, Alan.
I'll second.
And I just had one further question. With all the paper, I've forgotten, what's the closing date on this extension or renewal?
July 4th?
I think
Oh,
this
before the
is
June
just an
today.
annual, but it's a not to exceed of 15,000.
Right, but the, when does it, what period does it cover?
Starting today,
Yeah,
So it's on a fiscal year basis.
fiscal year basis.
okay. And that's under 15 grand.
It'll be updated every June 30th.
Thank you. We'll be here, Alan. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So that's 5-0. And I assume this is something we should probably sign today? Okay, thank you. All right, well, I appreciate our former superintendent stopping in, and we do have some further items, but they don't really involve them, I don't think. So,
But you can stick around.
This-
you can stay. There will be other questions, but,
Dan,
huh?
what's this?
Oh,
Not me.
not his. Next item. So
I'd
are
like to see
you,
the chair for that one.
yeah. So we'll be in touch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we,
I'm not gonna run off, I need to get notes before.
Okay, good.
gonna say, for F, do you want him part of that conversation?
No, yeah, you'll see. It's
Okay.
about really you two.
I'm open.
Well,
I like,
we're on item E, okay? So the item that we're on is the BOW, the Board Conference Phone Hub. And I want to thank Tracy and the other administrative staff because I was concerned because I've heard people say, that when they're on the phone, if they call in, they can't hear us, and we all know vice versa. And, usually when somebody goes into a dead zone, when you ask them to repeat, never fails. They repeat the part you already heard, and they don't repeat the part you didn't hear. That happens every single time, So I was concerned because I felt like people were voting on things that they hadn't heard properly. So I had talked to the administrative staff about possibly going back to Zoom, for when, not for all of us, for when somebody couldn't make it. And I appreciate that people have commitments and we're happy to accommodate that. But apparently if we went back to Zoom, it would be, the computer would have to be activated all the time. It would be a lot more work for the administrative staff. So, and I will hand it over to Tracy if I'm allowed to do that.
Oh, yeah, so the hub is just a new, it's right there on the conference table, and it's a new conference phone that can conference up to 10 callers, and it's supposed to have more of a reaching sound system that, you'd be able to hear if we had to conference you in from a distance. So it's new, it just arrived at the department. Barnstable County IT came in and helped hook it up last week, and it's ready to go. It operates just like a phone, but if we do have to pipe in anybody from another location, that's what we'll be using now.
That's great, thank you so much. And did I understand there's one in the other office as well?
Not in that office yet, but we could put one in there eventually if you wanted to, but right
we'll
now
wait
it's
and
the
see.
only one that's there.
Yeah, no, this is a good start, so thank you. Okay, so the next item is the best board meeting times. And no matter, we had the last meeting times were really to accommodate Gary to a lot degree because of his work schedule. And we don't have Gary anymore. Unfortunately, whatever we pick, it's going to be crazy for 2 months anyway. So, we just know that. And Dan, the reason I didn't think we needed Dan was originally I thought that our meetings would have to be on Friday, so he could visit periodically. But he has said that, on certain mornings like today, he can do it, whereas Fridays may be problematic for some of us. So nothing's going to be in stone for a couple of months.
Good.
So this is a 30,000-foot discussion to talk about. We're going to need extra meetings anyway, but to talk about in general, what would be good times for if we ever get back to regular meetings. And I didn't mean to point and say it, you too. It's just that Alan and I are happily retired. John is partly retired. And so
I wish I were
I know.
It's not gonna
It's just difficult, we understand, but, so I don't know what thoughts people, Thursday at 11:30 doesn't mean anything anymore, so, I just wanted to
Earlier
just.
the better.
Huh?
Earlier the better.
Well, I agree. Bob runs a breakfast place also, so.
9 o'clock works good for me, but just,
Okay.
I go and have to do some things. 8's a little early.
Right. Well, 8 we couldn't do. They only
Is
open
there
at 8.
breakfast there?
Yeah, we do breakfast
Yeah.
sandwiches. We have it at 6 a.m.
They only open at 8, so they couldn't, 8:30 would have to be
Yeah.
the very minimum. But, I also prefer mornings. And by the way, just so you know, Gary had passed on your request that mornings were better for you to me, so I was in the know.
Good. In the summer, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are the days that I've said to folks that I would go off tape. I don't, but if you're
Doesn't
doing
make- Monday or Friday?
Monday or
work?
Friday, which should be
It's fine.
lighter.
Mondays are actually good for me.
Monday, yeah. So why don't, for the summer,
Yeah.
we do Mondays? And then when the summer's over, we can figure out if there's a better day?
Because it's gonna be crazy for a couple of months anyway,
Yeah.
between interviews and,
Sure.
you know, executive sessions and other things, because I really like it when we can all get in a room together,
And so
particularly
probably-
while we're, you know, getting going, you know, and
I mean,
it's
we
sad.
may have a conference every now and then, but
Right.
now I got a super
I
duper
know.
call in.
Yeah. So, how are you, John?
I'm good.
You're good with everything, God love you. And my only things would be, of course, I put all my doctor's appointments on Mondays because we didn't meet on Mondays, so I mean, you know, I'm just, no, I know, I'm only teasing. That's easy to move. So
Or
it sounds,
Tuesday morning.
no, not because I said
And then I
that.
could leave at noon.
That's all right.
Is it good for Mondays for you?
Mondays, yeah.
If Monday's the preference, I'm
Yeah.
fine. Are you fine with that, Alan?
Don't bother them.
Okay, sweetie.
So
Come
good.
on
All
Friday.
right.
All right, so this will be with, looking to the potential of if we ever get back to regular meetings. We will try them out for a few month period on, how are they for you, Tracy?
Mondays?
Yeah.
No, that'll work fine.
Okay.
I can go forward if there are a lot of like holidays that fall on
Right,
Mondays, so,
right,
you know,
yeah. Well,
depending on what.
hopefully we'll get them on like every other Monday for a while around them, so.
Well, yeah, maybe after the summer, we move to a different day.
Oh, yeah, we'll be talking about everything. So what time on, in general, on
Nine.
Mondays?
9.
Does
Nine
that work
work?
for your breakfast?
Yes.
7.
6:30.
Huh?
Yes.
I'll go 7.
I used to come to your meetings at 7 when I was a liaison way back, and they weren't fun, you know,
No.
at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. Wonderful.
Did you go to those?
Yeah, well, when the first couple of years I was commissioner, we met at 7 or 8.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so we're talking about Mondays at 9 o'clock,
for the summer.
right? Yeah, and of course, we know there will be additional meetings, especially where interviews are involved. So while we're on this topic, before we go to Commissioner's report, what should we set for our next meeting? Let's see. So, you know, there'll be information that I'll be sending you out about available dates for some applicants and some other discussions
Yeah.
going on. But I think we should have another meeting set, and also to continue an executive session conversation about just everything that's going on, not everything, specific to the replacement of the superintendent.
What about the 17th?
It looks fine to me. How's the 17th for everyone?
Sweet.
Sweet?
Good.
Good? Okay. So we're going to set a meeting for the 17th at 9 a.m. for our next meeting, knowing that shortly thereafter there'll probably be a couple of extras thrown in, so. Okay, a lot accomplished, folks. So next would be superintendents. No, yeah, see, I'm stumbling over superintendents because we don't have it.
Where's Steve?
Huh?
Where's Steve?
I know, he wandered off. All right, so we'll go to Commissioner's report. Alan?
I'm good.
Bob?
I'm good until I learn more.
Okay. John?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. I only had one item, so I'll just...
Judith, what about Judith?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I skip right over you?
Good.
Oh, let's do that again.
Brian?
Let's do it. Alan? No. I'm sorry, Judith.
This is just a
Yeah.
curiosity, and I just keep thinking, so are we the water and wastewater, or are we the water and sewer?
Well, in certain situations, on certain documents, we're the Water and Sewer Department.
Interesting.
And on certain documents, the Board of Selectmen are the sewer commissioners. I mean, it's a jumble.
No, I meant the wastewater, word versus sewer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and on certain MGL documents and other things, they refer to the controlling board as the sewer commissioners. So whether that's referring to the controlling board, and Ed certainly knows more about this probably than I do, but, you know, when they make decisions about the whole town and CWMP, in the beginning, they were acting as sewer commissioners. How it got translated to us, it gets a little
You know,
messy.
there has been no official
That's right.
action taken.
That's right,
We are still with the water department.
yeah,
Wastewater is just along for the ride
right,
until something officially is done.
that's right,
That's what we said.
yeah,
So it still is Harwich Water.
all right.
I think Ed has a comment on this.
Well, when the charter change was put into effect, to go from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners, I believe included in that was a change in the title of the commission.
But no
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So you have a title,
Right.
which is larger than the old title, but there's
Well, the thing of it is,
no particular definition of it in the charter.
when the charter was done, I mean, all it was a chat about wastewater, the potential for the future,
Yeah,
but nothing solid.
yeah,
The
You know,
future's here.
I served on that.
yeah.
Yeah, at this point, we're still the water department, amen, officially. And until some action is taken, town meeting, and, you know, charter change.
We're the water department who's overseen by the water and wastewater commissioners.
Yeah.
That's what we are,
Uh,
yeah,
You could say, we can be anything you
Right.
want to call it,
yeah,
but officially and legally, we are not.
yeah.
We are Harwich Water.
Any other questions?
No, and I just really meant the wastewater
Yeah, I know,
word
I know,
versus,
no.
yeah,
Nothing's
I mean,
easy,
at
Yeah.
some point, you know,
it is,
they were looking for some place to dump it, and so be it.
yeah.
Can I ask one question? Does this board have committees?
No,
Okay.
I mean, doesn't mean we can't have subcommittees or anything else, just right now, we have no existing ones in process, but sounds like we're gonna be having some pretty soon, Bob.
That's what my question is.
Okay. All right, I have one item, actually a couple of items. I'll work with Tracy, but I'd like us to all update our contact information, you know, just to get a fresh start, and of course, add yours, and we can circulate that for everybody. It's gonna be hectic for a while, you know, and I just am so happy to hear everybody's buy-in to as we go forward, so I appreciate that. There's just one other matter which I'll just put on the record because, and I wish I had gotten it out there before Steve left, and I didn't want to put everything on Dan, but a while back, when I was going through my notes, we had talked about a property at 328 Bank Street, which I believe is directly across from the library or very near there. And I remember the issue, it was right around the foam issue, and I believe a fire sprinkler line was cut. And I remember in my notes it said that we lost about 150,000 to 200,000 gallons of water. And we talked about things like that we could condemn the seal pipe and that they might need a whole new water service.
Yeah, he wanted it replaced from the inside the building up to the main.
Well, that's what I'm asking. My notes ended there, and I couldn't remember if
I
we
think
took any
voted on-
action.
Did we vote on that?
If we voted, I would have it written. No, we did not vote. We discussed it.
Was,
I believe we were going to be charging for the gallonage lost, and then that property does have to get a whole new water service as well as fire service when they want to turn back on.
right.
They're going to have to reconnect in full everything.
Which property is it?
Right across the street from the library, you know, the old folks home, right across.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I just want to know the status of it. So we discussed it, and we said we'll be charging for the 200,000 gallons.
Yeah, they did a calculation, I don't know if it was that much, I think it
Right.
might have been 150,
Yeah,
125,000.
whatever,
So
but-
that might have already gone out, that invoice.
Okay, all right.
And then they'll have to reapply for water and fire through us, so we'll take care of that all when it comes through us.
Thank you, Tracy. Do you remember what we meant when we were talking about condemning the seal pipe? Or was that theirs? That was what they did, Ron.
I feel like that has to do with them having to redo everything, like they're not gonna be able to reuse what's already out there for water service coming in and.
I
so
gotcha.
We're gonna make them start fresh.
All
We're gonna
right,
go right from the main all the way into the building.
okay. Could somebody get me a copy of that invoice at some point, and I'll just put, if it went out or when it goes out, for my own files, so that I can ask questions like this intelligently when it's 2 months later with everything else we've been doing, all right, Alan?
Should it be an agenda item, or you guys
No.
want to take care of it?
No, we had already discussed it, I'm just asking as part of the commissioner's report for the status, and I got it, so I'm a happy woman. Yeah, no, that's just for me, Alan, like you, I got a lot of records.
Yeah.
One of those was already voted on, but we didn't have a second copy, and the other one is from today, the GHD agreement.
Any other items for today? Nope,
I think we're set.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Oh, sorry.
Just to go back a bit, the town charter, under Article 36 in 2019 was amended, and the amendment was the Water and Wastewater Commission of 5 members will be elected for a 3-year overlapping term. The Water and Wastewater Commission shall possess and exercise all powers given to the Board of Water Commissioners under Chapter 165 of the general laws. And the Water and Wastewater Commission shall be responsible for the administration, maintenance, and operation of the water and sewer systems and facilities. And there's also a reference to having the powers and responsibilities of boards of sewer commissioners under Chapter
That's what I
83
meant.
of the general laws. And the Water and Wastewater Commission shall appoint a water and wastewater superintendent who should work cooperatively with the town administrator. Notwithstanding any other provisions of this section, to the contrary, the select board shall be responsible for the design, construction of the town sewer system, and for the implementation of the comprehensive wastewater management plan.
Will you text me, or send,
Yeah, yeah.
Ed, will you text me that? Can you?
Because, you know, I mean, we're quite removed.
Yeah,
I mean,
so basically,
until it gets in the ground.
they build it, design it, make
Okay,
those
we
decisions, once
we get
it's
to clean up.
operational.
Oops.
We get to clean up.
Yeah, you get to operate. It's section 6.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I have read that about 500,000 times.
Yeah, didn't we?
Yeah.
One question.
You have
Are we
Gary's.
adjourned, we're adjourned,
Yeah.
right?